Hello, my name is Izogu Chukwuemeka Kaide. I'm a certified life coach, an integrative psychotherapist, and a management consultant. Over the last couple of years, I've always been concerned about what's going to happen next. It's not like an obsession, more like a preoccupation. What's next? Every time you get to a particular precipice in time, you're supposed to begin to look to what's coming. What's at the next turn? And over the last couple of years, I've always thought to be like that, anticipating what's coming if I'm not part of the people who will be creating it. In 2019, funny enough, for some reasons, I was reading Evelyn Toffler's work, Future Shock. Little did I know, I think I read it at the very tail end of 2019. Little did I know that in 2020 we're going to be faced with COVID, and then COVID will terraform our world in ways that we never thought possible. From that moment onward, I've always realized that, look, I've got to be able to keep my mind on what's coming next. That would better allow me adapt or respond to change as it happens. I think it was Richard Branson. I was reading one of his works recently, I think on Twitter, and he made a particularly insightful statement. He said, change creates challenges. It's so simple, right? But it made a lot of sense that, look, I'd always known that with change comes challenges. But then he went a step further. So when challenges come, there are two things that happens. First is opportunities. All right. When change happens, there's a lot of newness, and when that newness comes, you see opportunities unfolding. And then the second thing will be that those opportunities are actually marked as problems. So if I can solve these problems, then change will not really be something I would have to catastrophize about. Change will not be a threat. It will actually be a blessing. So if I can learn, in the beginning, to have a different relationship with change, such that I understand that, look, with change comes challenges. With challenges comes opportunities to create solutions that will lead to, well, the betterment of society and the profit of the individual. Then I will actually change my outlook. And we already know, it's a cliche that change is a constant. Change is something that cannot be stopped. No human can stop the wheels of change and progress. It's going to happen whether you want it or not, whether you like it happening or not, whether you're in control of what's going to happen after it happens or not. It's inconsequential. It is always going to happen. So if you've accepted the easiness of change, then you can now go to the next step, which is, okay, how do I optimize? How do I profit from change? Because change is always going to happen. Change is always going to happen, right? And that has been part of my preoccupation for the last couple of years. Towards the end of 2024, I and some friends, or actually a friend, hosted a conference, Curating Chaos, and he called a little of us together. We're trying to, in some ways, run scenarios, predict the future based on the trends we're spotting, the patterns we are identifying, and then see how those scenarios will play out, all things being equal, and see what sectors will be impacted, what industries will have major impact based on what's coming. But it wasn't that general discussion that piqued my interest. It was something one of the panelists shared. So she's a creative. She's into movie and the film industry, and then she was talking about the preponderance of AI and how it is making us lazy, right? And she was using Grammarly, the app Grammarly, as a case study. Now you don't know which words you cannot spell, because once you start typing them, Grammarly would leave an indicator on the words that are wrongly spelled, so that you can just click on it and then you're helped with spell checking. And then she was like, yeah, quite a number of people, because of that, and because of the fact that we are on almost all the platforms we use are text-based, so you're either typing in short forms, and it's becoming very preponderant, and people are in her words, losing that discipline of spelling. And she associated that with like, well, losing intelligence or becoming cerebrally, mentally lazy, and people are not doing the work they needed to do. At some point, I figured that's just one way to look at it, because what you are insisting on by looking at it in that way is that you're insisting that we continue to spell. But if you think closely, just follow me. I mean, in fact, around that time, the author of what's this magic series, Harry Potter, yeah, she tweeted around that time that she just hacked the spelling for maneuver. When I mean, guys, she was like, guys, watch out, see what I just learned how to spell maneuver. And it was supposed to allude to the fact that, yeah, we're beginning to lose touch with spelling, and then we're already running that to mean that people are beginning to become mentally or cerebrally lazy. God, cerebral, that's a tongue twister. Anyways, I figured that that's just one way to think about it. Another way will be this. If you had lived in the Stone Age, the predominant skill, I mean, the most intelligent person in the Stone Age had mastery with stone. That's basically what. If you were to call the guy up now, right, in this age, this dispensation that we're in, he will think us dull because we're even doing much with stones. Who's touching stones now anymore? He will think us dull. But if he was to now sit down and have conversations with us, he would understand that he cannot touch the level of intelligence that is seated in today's man. And that happened just because we went from Stone Age to Agrarian Age to Industrial Age to the Jet Age, and now to the age of conceptual thinking and ideation, the Space Age too. We've made all of that progression, and with that progression there was a shift in what the concept of intelligence is. Intelligence is not a static thing. All right, I think I'm not, my argument now is not even about intelligence, it's just to drive a point. The person who spells, right, every time you spell a word that is wrong, you know it is wrong. How do you know the word is wrong? Because you actually know the right one. It's somewhere in memory. You're seeing it somewhere. We know that you don't ever forget. No memory is actually lost. So we layer upon the memory. We layer upon the memory that we have. So no memory is actually lost. Everything that you've ever seen is somewhere, right? It's somewhere, right? It's not lost to you. That's why when you spell something wrong, something tells you it's wrong. The only reason why you can know it is wrong is because you know the right spelling, but you just cannot call it up in the moment. Now that brings me to the real meat of the gist. You know how much mental bandwidth spelling alone takes? How many words are in your head just occupying space? Now imagine that by the wheels of progress we could abdicate the responsibility for spelling to some machine. What that does is, if you look at it like I'm trying to analyze now, it frees for me mental or cognitive capacity to do the thing I am most skilled to do, which is, in the case of that particular speaker with me, creative thinking, the function that helps her write powerful movies, plots and twists and all the powerful things that makes a movie the kind of thing you want to watch, a blockbuster. Not spelling. In the scheme of her skill, spelling, in the scheme of her overall skill, spelling is supposedly negligible. So it is okay if because it's not the core of her function. Her core function is creative thinking, ideation, painting pictures, creating that narrative, that illustration that will suck the attention of the average viewer. I mean, even the sophisticated viewer, draw them in and keep them seated in one spot for 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 2 hours, as long as the movie will run. That's her core skill. You know, but the cognitive bandwidth for that skill is being shared by words. So I was like, look, if we can just take this step forward and run the narrative to the end, you will understand that, look, wait, what's the core of my work? The core of my work is creating movies, creating those plots and letting my imagination run wild, that I can create something truly exciting. The core of my work isn't spelling. So if I can find a system that I abdicate spelling to, it frees me provides enough cognitive capacity for me to do what I do best. And that's it. So instead of saying Grammarly is coming to make me lazy, on some level, no, Grammarly is coming to optimize me, make me more efficient, doing the very things that I know to do. This brings me to where I'm coming at. Chaos will always happen. Change will always happen. One of the things I know about change is that it creates chaos. It creates disorder. And our response to disorder is funny. Most people lament. Like, for example, people are going to say AI is going to take our jobs. So people are lamenting. People are, oh, what's going to happen? They're hyperventilating. They're catastrophizing. Chill. Chaos is. And it's always been, change has been happening since time began. Change is a constant. And you know the other thing that is a constant? Man. You. Well, yeah, man. So, because man has been the biggest orchestrator for change. Change is a constant. You are a constant. So get this very well. There are two constants at play here. Chaos and you. At every time T, the two of you would always be in existence. So the first thing you must understand is that I am as constant as chaos. So my response to it will be that, look, this thing is. I'm not fighting the isness of change or chaos. It is. So what I should ask myself is, how do I position myself so that I am at a place where I can optimize when the next change hits? That brings me to all that is happening. So after everything we shared in that meeting, I summarized it in a simple thing. I told them, look, this is it. It's not the chaos that is as important as how you respond to it. Chaos is going to keep happening. It will happen now. It will happen long after you're gone. And you must understand that it is a backdrop upon which life unfolds. It's always going to be here. The question is, do you want to meet the challenge? Like in the words of Richard Branson, change creates challenges. And then the challenge provides opportunities for you to prefer solutions. So if you can think of it like that and ask yourself, what is my core skill? What core competence do I have? What am I exceptionally good at? I mean, in my other videos, I'll be talking about why some certain skills would thrive in the world of work and in the general world, even with AI and tech interventions taking over everywhere. There are certain things, there are parts of our humanness that cannot be abdicated to computers. There are things, there are interpersonal skills, curiosity, some things that you cannot, the ability to emote, right? You cannot abdicate to a machine. A machine is programmed to function a particular way. It is either it's working by programming, or it is doing machine learning, it is combing the internet, is correlating data, and basically there has to be an interface for AI to work with. But you are a constant. So the question you want to ask yourself is, what's my core skill? What one thing do I have the capacity to do that I can continue to do? I think it was Tyler Wave who actually, there's a video to that, very powerful video. That, what do I call my core strength? What can I learn to do now and I can call it a core skill that I can continue to do? It embodies my humanness. And I can learn to improve on that. And while I'm improving, it is simple for me to convince everybody else around me that, look, this is something that they can pay me for. This is what I can exchange for value. That's what should be your biggest focus. So what is it? At some point, yes, jobs will be renamed, will be terraformed, spaces will be changed. But there's core human functions inside those jobs that cannot be pushed away. So you want to redefine your job based on the core human functions, and then develop a capacity to put forth that core human function at a very sharp and growing rate, such that you can convince every single person around you that, you know what, I can do this, and you can pay me to do it. What I'm trying to say is the future will come whether you want it to come or not. So you can't hold back the hands of time. Yes, AI will gain predominance. Stuff is going to happen that you never even planned or prepared for. If you can keep your head in the chaos and know that every time change happens, a challenge is created, opportunities come that people have to prefer solutions to, you can ask yourself, what's happening now? What solution can I prefer to this particular problem? What skills do I have for the kind of problems that are coming? If you can answer those questions, then change will not phase you. The future will arrive and you'll be part of it. On my next video, I'll be talking about something else. But watch this space. You will succeed.